Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Sunday Afternoon Smokes, your casual conversation podcast from the upstate of South Carolina. My name's Chris. I'm your host. I'm a realtor. I'm also the owner and operator of The Cigar Box, a mobile cigar bar that serves the upstate and beyond. If you've been enjoying SAS, I'd appreciate it if you drop me a review and help me grow a little bit. Today, I am sitting down with somebody that I met recently at a concert, Scott Mack. Scott, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you so much. It's a beautiful evening here tonight. I appreciate you having me out. It's great to share a cigar and a glass of bourbon with you.
Absolutely. So, Scott, I just like to let my guests introduce themselves. So take a minute, say as much or as little about yourself as you like. And while you do that, I'm going to light my cigar.
Sure thing, folks. Scott Mack, originally from Buffalo, New York. I bought some property down here in South Carolina about 5 years ago. And then a little less than 2 years ago, I decided to pull the trigger and move down. Currently living in Simpsonville, operating a home inspection business. I'm also a retired Army and a father of one son. He's 21. He's in college right now.
Awesome. Well, we will dive into some of that stuff here in a little bit. Did you watch the Buffalo Ravens game?
I unfortunately I missed the game, but I went back and saw the highlights.
Okay.
Wow, intense at the end.
Yeah.
No doubt. And in the past few years, I have come back around to being a Bills fan. Of course, I love the Buffalo Bills, but they are kind of like a bad ex-girlfriend that keeps letting you down and coming back and promising you something again. But I think they got a chance this year, and I'm excited to see where they go.
I've been pulling for them, man.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of pretty much all the New York teams, but Buffalo, they went to all those Super Bowls in the 90s and lost all of them.
Mm-hmm. They did it again.
Yeah, and they've been bad for so long. And like you said, the last several years, they've just been teasing. They just
so close.
They've just been teasing people. And my dad was we were on the way out to the concert last night. My dad and he came to help me, and we were just kind of chatting about the football season. And he said that what was the final score? 41-40.
Yes, yeah, and they came back like 20.
They scored like 22 points in the fourth quarter.
Ridiculous. Yeah, this is true Buffalo nature right there.
Yeah,
like you said, they keep you dangling. Then hey, all right, we're coming back. Yeah, awesome,
nice. Well. We might get into a little bit more of that later on, but whenever you mentioned Buffalo, I had to ask. I didn't know if you were a football fan or.
I just found out there's a Bills backer bar in Greer called the East Side Bar, and you go in there and there's Bills memorabilia everywhere. So the Bills are a wild team. If you've ever been around the country, I've been to Houston where they block off 3 blocks for Buffalo Bills fans. The Bills have fans everywhere around the country, and they got backer bars everywhere.
Okay.
It's insane.
Nice. Well, my other friend, I have another friend. He was actually the third guest he was episode number 3, Sean Martin. He's a dog trainer, and he's from Buffalo.
Wow.
Yeah, so you're the second person I've met in this area from Buffalo, and he's a Bills fan.
It's just the snow that's pushing us away. That 5 months of dreary winter.
Is it?
That's what's
just gotta be rough.
What's bringing us here, and of course, we have to fall in line with the rest of with New York City politics, if you want to call it that. But in all reality, New York State is a beautiful state. We have a lot of mountains, lakes, rivers. We have the ocean. I mean, it's an incredible state. Just 5 months out of the year, it's rather cold.
Yeah, I've been to upstate New York, and it was amazing. I mean, it's beautiful.
Cool.
Like
where'd you go?
Some little place called Catatonk. I have no idea where that is. Yeah, I don't know. That was a long, long time ago. But yeah, upstate New York, just like you said, the rivers, the lakes, the forests, it's gorgeous. Yeah. But then you hit New York City, and it's.
I never even asked you. Are you born and bred here?
No. I'm born and bred in Texas.
Excellent.
Yeah, and then spent about 20 years in Southern California, and then moved here to the upstate in the summer of 2019.
All right.
So, no, Texas is my home state. I never claimed California as home. It's a place I've visited for a very long time.
Understood.
Yeah. So
That's a whole nother conversation.
yeah, that's a whole nother ball of wax right there. But we are Scott and I. We met. What concert was it?
It was a Collective Soul live
That's right.
and Our Lady of Peace concert. And my girlfriend and I, here's a story. We're just walking around, checking out all the vendors, having a few drinks. And we walked by Chris's little trailer here, and it was just the neatest thing that we've ever seen. Now, my girlfriend is actually more of a cigar smoker than I am.
Oh, really?
And I said, hey, how about we get a cigar? And she was total game for it. So
Nice.
it was cool to meet you and then find out you're a realtor. And like you said, just
Yeah, I do a smattering of things. Cigars, real estate, podcast, just yeah, I got a lot going on. But yeah, we just randomly met at the Collective Soul in live concert, and I found out that you were a home inspector, and of course we're in related fields.
Mhm.
And I said, hey man, why don't we just do a podcast? And so here we are.
Yeah.
Because I have yet to interview a home inspector. And so
Wow.
that's coming soon. But right now, we've decided to both light. It's not what I was. Number one, I didn't think you were going to smoke because you said you were just kind of coming off of a little bit of a cold,
Yeah.
but you decided to pull the trigger anyway.
Yeah, this Crazy Alice, I think this is the same cigar that we purchased from you at the concert. And it's got a smooth bowl flavor with some kind of, I don't know if it's fruit. What is this infused with, Chris?
So this is part of the Deadwood line made by Drew Estate. I don't know how much you know about cigars.
Okay.
Or how much do you know about cigars?
Not much at all.
Not much? Okay.
No. You got to school me.
So the Deadwood line is made by a company called Drew Estate, and they are famous for their like sweet and infused offerings. They have within this line called Deadwood, they have 5 cigars. They have Crazy Alice, Fat Bottom Betty, Sweet Jane, Leather Rose, and Girl with No Name. Actually, they have 6. They have Dominicana, which is just a sweet cap. But all of these, a lot of people mistake them for being infused. They are exotic tobaccos. They're not actually infused, but Drew Estate doesn't give away the blend, right? That's a proprietary thing they've got going on. So I could not even tell you what this tobacco is in this.
Are these guys based out of Carolinas?
No, I don't really know where Drew Estate's based out of.
It is a U.S. company, right?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
Jonathan Drew. I mean, I can Google it really quick if we really want to.
Drew Estate.
Yeah, Drew Estate.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So something in the tobacco, just the way it's grown.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
It's probably a varietal that's naturally sweet. Like there's another cigar out there that I really, really enjoy made by Ferio Tego, and it's the Metropolitan. They have a Connecticut and they have a Maduro, and the Maduro is excellent. It's dark and it's bold, but the tobacco on it is naturally sweet, kind of like this. It's not this sweet, but you have a little sweetness on your lips from it, but it's not infused. It's just a natural property of that particular tobacco.
It's incredible.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
And Scott is such a nice guy. He brought along a couple of small bottles of Elijah Craig, which again, I appreciate that.
Yeah, sure. No
So
problem.
we are drinking, he brought Elijah Craig bourbon and he brought the rye. But I figured if we're smoking this Crazy Alice, that the bourbon probably be a little bit sweeter than the rye. So that's what we did.
Fair enough. Yeah, I stopped today at a liquor store, and of course, I'm always asking recommendations on things I don't know, like alcohol and cigars. So I asked a few people in there, I said, what goes good with cigars? And the one guy just recommended Elijah. I said, all right, I'll get both bottles, and we'll give it a whirl.
Well, he's not wrong. This is really good together. Like smoking this cigar and then having a sip of this Elijah Craig bourbon, and we did put it on rocks, just to open it up a little bit. It does complement that sweetness. I've noticed it. And I don't know how over your sinuses or allergies or whatever you are, but I don't know how well your palate is
Trust
working
me,
right now.
I can taste everything here, and yeah, they do go together well. No doubt. Yeah.
So you, like I said, not super knowledgeable about cigars, are you? Which is fine. Um, what's your level of knowledge when it comes to bourbon or wine, or are you knowledgeable in that area too?
I'm just starting to get into that. I mean, I realize that South Carolina is definitely a bourbon state, and there's, cigar bars that go along with the bourbons, of course. So I'm starting to enjoy some of that with friends and my girlfriend as well, but still just a total novice at these
Total
things.
novice.
Yeah, in Buffalo, it's just not that big of a trend. I can't
No?
say it's not there. It's there, but it's more of a trend down here.
Yeah,
Almost more of a culture here,
sure.
you know?
I can see that. So what's the trend up in Buffalo?
Food.
I mean, wings, obviously.
Yeah,
That's
food and beer,
Beer.
sports.
It's a big beer town.
Beer, but we have Canadian beer.
Okay.
So you'll go to Buffalo and you'll find a lot of Canadian things that you wouldn't find when you come down here, no doubt.
Interesting.
Whether it be Canadian food like poutine or Canadian bacon or a lot of Canadian beer.
Yeah.
Molson, Labatt Blue, that kind of stuff.
Is it good?
Hockey's real big in Buffalo, of course, where you come down here and it's not as popular. So, yeah, culture thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's the Canadian beer?
It's fair. Yeah. I mean, I think
Hey.
it's better than Budweiser, Yep, for sure. Okie dokie. I have some friends in Long Island out there in New York, and they always call me the Canadian. They don't even call me upstate. They just call me Canadian. But
Yeah.
I can deal with that.
That's funny. So novice in spirits, and are you novice at beer too?
I can't. Now I am pretty good at beer. I am kind of a beer snob. Yeah. What about yourself?
I don't like beer.
All right.
I just don't like the way it tastes.
All right.
For me personally, there are a few exceptions to that. I find that I can do pretty well with a porter or a stout.
Okay.
Especially if I've got a robust cigar to go with it, because that's like a heavy.
So you got a meal in a glass,
Heavier
and a cigar,
Right.
you're good to go.
Right,
Yeah.
but like I just a lot of the lighter stuff, the pilsners, or I really, of all the beers, I hate the most is probably all the IPAs, which
I'm with you.
most people like. That's all the crazy.
That
it's the
flower
craziness.
power stuff is something else.
It's just I can't stand it.
I'm
So-
a dark amber, lagers. Those are fine with me. But recently been getting into wine with my girlfriend and realized that here in South Carolina, we have a decent amount of wineries not too far from us. So yeah, we're really enjoying the Malbecs, the Merlots, California wines, South Carolina wines from Argentina, all over the place. So
yeah, have
getting
you
into
been
that
over
more.
to? There's quite a few around here. I'm trying to think. So there's Cityscape,
Yep.
Winery, which is probably maybe the most popular one around here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've been there.
Yep, been
Yeah.
there. There's one down by Honoré. Did I say that properly? Honoré,
I don't know.
down by Lawrence and Clinton.
Okay.
There's a decent one down there I visited. And,
There's one not too far from here, Eagle Mountain Winery.
here near Easily.
No, it's not in Easley. I think it's out on Highway 11. I think. So Eagle Mountain, and there's Kennington Family
Okay.
Winery. And of course there's some, like, because we're in the corner, like there's some beautiful wineries just across the line in Georgia and in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So like if you're a wine person, you can have a field day just running all right up in here.
Yeah. Forgive my my lack of knowledge, but can you pair cigars and wine? Does it go well?
Cigars and wine is it's almost just as big of a pairing as cigars and bourbon.
Get out.
Yeah, it's enormous. Like the cigar that we're smoking right now, you could probably put a nice red with it, because I think it's bold enough to stand up to it.
A dry or a sweet, would you say?
I would go sweet. I'd go like for like if it
All
were
right.
me. But you could do, any medium full to full cigar. You could smoke a nice red. You could have a nice cup of red wine with it. But if you're doing like a milder, lighter Connecticut wrap cigar, dial it back. Have a nice white wine.
Mm-hmm.
Or even if you're doing something really, if you're doing a sweet cigar, get a dessert wine, get you something real kind of fruity and tasty. But it's an enormous world of wine and cigars. That's huge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know that, but I could see it going together, especially the sweet wine.
Yeah.
Sweet red.
They totally do.
Yeah.
They totally do. So where do you find that you like, on the wine spectrum, if as it were?
Yeah.
Are you dialing into a certain?
I used to be a sweet wine guy, especially up in Buffalo, because we had the Niagara region of wines, really good wines that they produce there. And we'd get something near Buffalo, Niagara called iced wine. So what happens is these grapes, when they somewhat mature, they let them sit until the first frost. And that first day of frost, that's when they go out and they harvest all the grapes. And it turns into this sweet, almost slushy kind of wine. It's very thick.
Huh.
That was really unique. And I could see that ice wine going great with a cigar.
Okay.
Yeah. But
man,
now I'm more into Malbecs and Merlots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the cigars go well with, honestly, you can pair them with any of the alcohols, really. Like, they're great with bourbon and rum.
Mm-hmm.
They're good with wine. People pair them with beer all the time. You said if you're doing a dark amber or even like a red ale, I would do like a medium cigar. Not something. I mean, the conventional wisdom, and I've said this before, the conventional wisdom is basically like whatever your drink is, you want to smoke a cigar in kind. So if you're drinking a porter or a stout, I want to smoke a bold cigar, because if I smoke something that's very mild, that porter's just going to overpower it, and you're not going to be able to taste your cigar, right? Or vice versa, I would not smoke a heavy Maduro cigar with Michelob Ultra.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's almost like it's almost like drinking
a cigar that would go good with a Michelob.
No, or a Miller Lite, or just something very pick whatever very light beer. You know what I mean? Dos Equis, Corona. I would not smoke a big Maduro cigar, because it's just going to overpower the beer.
Yeah.
Or a white wine or whatever. So, now that's just the conventional wisdom. My personal take is do whatever makes you happy. Like, if you, for some reason, enjoy the polar ends of the spectrum at the same time, fine, go for it.
Have you found a hard liquor besides bourbon whiskey that goes better with a cigar?
I don't know if it goes better. I mean, rum goes really well. Actually, coffee is great.
Like a spiced rum?
Either.
Yeah.
Okay. But coffee is very good.
Coffee and a cigar?
Coffee and cigars, man.
Wow.
Heck yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Non-alcoholic, too. So there you go.
Yeah,
coffee.
yeah.
But coffee and cigars is a beautiful thing. At any time, but I find them great if you like to smoke in the morning.
I have to talk to my neighbor about that. He's not a drinker. He'll have a beer, once every couple months or something. But a coffee and a cigar. He's a pipe smoker, so he's brought me along for that a few times to the pipe shops and whatnot. But yeah, he said he likes cigars, so coffee and a cigar.
Absolutely.
There you go.
So, where does your cigar smoking journey begin, man? How long have you been smoking cigars?
Well, I was a cigarette smoker for many years, since my teenage years, but then I quit about 7 years ago. So in between that, smoked some cigars. My stepfather was a cigar smoker every day. And actually, my mother called him Cigar Face because he was always walking around with a cigar sticking out of his mouth. So, occasionally I'd enjoy a cigar with him, but he was just doing those, what are they called, Dutch Masters? Yeah, I mean, nothing fancy with him. I have tried the Cuban cigars. I think they're overrated. I'd rather go with a Dominican any day or a Honduran. So, yeah, I think they're just overrated because they're illegal to purchase.
Well, I was having this very conversation with somebody at the concert last night that now listen, I wasn't alive in the 60s or 50s, I mean, I didn't really, I didn't come along until 79.
All right. So you and I are about the same age.
Okay. Yeah, I'm 45. I'm almost 46. We'll be in a few weeks. But just from what I've read and things I've listened to and the nostalgia, I don't think that the Cuban cigars of today are the same as they were in the 60s.
Understood.
I don't think they are. I think a lot of that Cuban seed, now we know this, a lot of the Cuban seed or a lot of the tobacco, for various reasons, whether it was weather-related or crop-related diseases, like things that tobacco is susceptible to. The big ones are blue mold. Blue mold will wipe out a tobacco crop. Black shank.
So this is a specific type of mold that just attacks tobacco.
Yeah, it's
really
prominent in tobacco, so it grows on the underside of all the leaves, and it'll just spread like wildfire. Black shank starts at the shank coming out of the ground and destroys the plant from the ground up. And then you have something called mosaic virus, which will mottle all the leaves and make them unusable. But black shank and blue mold, I think those are the big ones. But just several rounds of destructive happenings with tobacco in Cuba. Then you bring in the people who hybridize the seeds to make them more disease resistant, which is understandable, but then you lose.
You're messing with it.
You're messing with it, man.
Yeah.
And I understand why you do it. Well, you almost have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we don't have tobacco, right? So you kind of have to do it, but you're messing with the original profile of this seed, and then that seed becomes extinct because we don't use it anymore.
You got to wonder too about the soil. How fertile is it, compared to 60 years ago?
Yeah, it's been used a lot.
You know
what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, there's certain things you can do. Obviously, when we do the same thing, whether it's with soy or corn or whatever, because we just, we've got all this, just millions of acres of crops that we just use over and over and over, and we never let the land rest. We just throw nitrogen in it and whatever.
I'll tell you, just some experience from, eating fruits and vegetables alone in Latin America, because they're growing these crops in newer fields. They were just recently, they just recently took out all the bushes and trees, and now they're growing crops there. And the fruit and vegetables compared to here, where they've been planted in the same soil for 100 plus 200 years, it's total night and day.
Yeah.
The freshness of it.
Sure.
So
I bet
the same thing with tobacco.
Absolutely. I mean, if you plant something in a field that's not seeing anything in it other than wildlife for 10, 20, 30 years, it's going to be amazing, whatever grows there.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that soil is so fertile and so rich and so untapped that whatever you plant there is going to be gangbusters.
Now, everything, the trend now, you see with food, you see with everything, organic. Is there organic tobacco cigars?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. Sorry to stump you.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So, I don't even remember what we were talking about, man. How we got onto we're talking about the Cuban cigars.
Cubans, yeah.
Like,
in relation to Dominicans, Hondurans,
I've smoked a couple of Cubans, and one was phenomenal, one was just meh, I think, honestly, the world has caught up. What the products that are coming out of Nicaragua and out of Honduras and out of Ecuador and out of Dominican Republic are fantastic.
Yeah.
They're every bit as good as Cuban. I think Cuba, being the communist country that it is, probably keeps the best cigars for themselves.
That would make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. I think there's a lot of nostalgia around the Cuban cigars that gives them, I don't know. It's probably a blessing and a curse. Like the blessing is that everybody just kind of pegs that as the standard. That's the cigar, right?
Right.
Like super popular. The curse is that when people actually smoke it, you don't live up to it. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's how I felt. I was like, all right, not the best. I mean, it wasn't a terrible cigar, but I've had a couple different Cubans. Yeah. It's,
Just being overseas.
yeah, just being in Latin America. I mean, certain countries, it's a lot easier to get it over there than the United States.
They're still expensive though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of crazy. You can go out of the country and get like I might grab some the next time I'm out, which will be probably next summer. I have a trip planned out of the States. But I mean, it's nothing to drop $30 or $40 or $50 on a Cuban. You know,
Wow, man.
they're expensive.
Yeah.
You know, and then like if you just word to the wise, I mean, like if you're gonna go out of country and buy cigars and you're gonna try and get legit Cubans, don't buy them from people off the street because they're probably not real.
Yeah.
They're probably fake. So find an actual cigar shop, right, and go in there and get your cigars, get your Cubans, or like. Because I have a friend who goes, I think he goes to Barbados on a annual basis, and he always sends me pictures of the cigar lists and the cigar prices, but it's like he's at this high-end restaurant ordering big steaks, and so those are going to be like legit Cuban cigars.
One would hope.
If you're at this big swanky restaurant, they're not dealing in false
Not
goods.
just giving you the black market out of the back of the pickup truck.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you ever been to Cuba?
No.
No?
It's on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the list. I've been to all the little islands and countries around there, but not Cuba yet. I believe it's pretty easy to go now. You just go and you're supposed to do some type of volunteering or charity.
Yeah.
And then you can get by.
Yeah,
Have a
you
great
can
time.
get in on you can't just like straight up go as a tourist.
Right.
But there are other ways to go, like, for like you said, if you know somebody with a charity, or you want to do some volunteer work, or you can get in on a religious visa if you want to do some church work, or an educational visa if you're doing whatever.
Yeah.
There's ways to get in. I should go.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Do you speak a little Spanish or no?
No.
Okay.
Although the word no is still
you
no
do.
in Spanish.
Yeah.
I do not, But I would imagine you can probably find plenty of English around there.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, they're so close to us. They're so close
anywhere
to the
you
United
go,
States.
especially big cities, you can usually find English-speaking folks, and typically it's the young people,
To speak English?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, because the young people are watching our movies, listening to our music. Yeah, they're picking it up, so they're very excited to speak English if they get an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Well, thanks for nailing down the Cuba cigar debate.
I don't know that I nailed it down. I'm not, nobody calls. None of, like, Cigar Aficionado magazine doesn't call me up and ask my opinion.
Maybe we can change that, huh?
Yeah. It's Cigar Aficionado. If you're listening to this podcast, call me. I find that unlikely. But anyway, hey, speaking of cigars, I want you to experience the ultimate in cigar luxury brought directly to your event, and that's what the Cigar Box offers. We bring a curated selection of premium hand-rolled cigars, expert recommendations, and a sophisticated mobile cigar bar experience on wheels. Perfect for weddings, corporate events, golf tournaments, private parties, whatever. There's no event too big or too small. Visit mobilecigarbox.com and fill out the booking inquiry form, and I will be back in touch with you as soon as humanly possible. And I do want to add, like I did say, that we offer premium hand-rolled cigars, because there is a difference between, like, premium hand-rolled cigars means that it is not just hand-rolled versus machine-rolled. It's also what's called long filler. So a cigar has three parts. It has the wrapper leaf on the outside, then it has the binder directly under the wrapper, and then it has the filler, everything in the middle of the cigar. So they take the filler and they roll it up in the binder leaf. So now that's all bound together. And then they put the final leaf on it, which is the wrapper. So if they're making a cigar and they are taking a tobacco leaf and using using a long section of that leaf as a whole part to put in the filler, that is called long filler. Versus, when they're like, so they will have a whole leaf of tobacco, but maybe they're only making a Robusto cigar, which is about 5.25 inches. So they'll break it in half, right? And they'll use that. Well, now they've got this smaller section, this little bit at the back of the leaf or wherever they broke off, right? And then whenever they are getting ready to put the cap on and do other things, they'll use their little knife that's called a civetta, and they'll cut and trim, and they have all these little pieces. Well, they use those pieces in other cigars. They're not going to throw it away, right? They're going to utilize that. So a lot of that stuff winds up just these broken pieces and trimmed pieces and short pieces. It's just kind of like all the leftovers.
Yeah.
Those go into other cigars known as short filler cigars. So, and a short filler cigar is typically sold at a cheaper price because it's not a premium long fill whole leaf of tobacco used as filler. It's like, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like throwing bread in your meatloaf when you're making the meatloaf, you throw some bread in for expansion and filler, right?
Yes.
It's not a pure, so when we're using all those little pieces, it goes into a short filler cigar, and that's not considered a premium. So, and then there's machine rolled cigars, which are also not considered premium. So when I say in my advertisement for the cigar box that we offer premium hand rolled cigars, I do not offer cigars with short filler, or even so. There's long filler and then short filler, and then there's like all the little bitty bits and pieces that they will use and roll it up, and that's called a Cuban sandwich.
And that would be a Dutch master?
Probably.
Yeah.
I couldn't say for sure. That doesn't mean it's a bad cigar.
Right.
It just means it's not premium and hand rolled. And if you smoke those Cuban sandwich cigars that's all short filler and little pieces, sometimes those cigars have trouble with burning evenly, right? Because that little fire, that little ember that you're maintaining has to jump from piece to piece instead of just being able to continuously burn down one piece of tobacco, right?
Yeah.
So when I say that we offer premium hand rolled cigars, we don't have short filler, we don't have Cuban sandwich. I tell people, like, you're not throwing a second rate party, so I'm not bringing second rate cigars, right? So that's part of the premium, like, luxury of the cigar box. Straight up hand rolled premium long filler cigars. That's all I do.
Well, I will say that I just viewed Chris's humidor and selection of cigars. He's got at least over 30 different selections, right? What would you say?
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 4 shelves. I mean, when you take that door off, there's 100 individual cigars on display. And I try and have like, there's probably more than 30.
Yeah, good.
Somewhere in there, somewhere 30 to 40. I try and have at least 2 to 3 of each cigar. I will carry, like, 2 Ferio Tego Metropolitans, then 3 Camachos, and then 2 Hoyo de Monterreys, and then 2 Romeo and Julietas, and 3 whatever.
Those are pretty popular, those
Romeos. Yeah, I mean, it's a quality cigar.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was trying to tell somebody the other night that it just, I buy for my business, because you've seen it now, the way I move product, it doesn't make sense for me to buy a box of 20 or box of 25. I usually buy in 5 and 10 packs just because I try and have a wide selection of cigars for everybody within 100 cigar window.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it takes a long time for me to move 25 of the same cigar. Like that would take up, I could fill up that window with 4 different cigars just by buying 4 boxes of 25, but I have to have more than 4 kinds.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense for my business model for me to buy boxes of 20 or 25. I buy a box of 10 or a 5-pack, a 10-pack, a sampler pack, and have, 5 or 10 cigars of that kind, and I'll have 3 of them in the window, and the rest of them will be in back stock. So between my window and what's in stock in the back, there's probably, I don't know, 350 cigars hanging around. So like when I said no event's too big or too small, I literally mean it. Like if you've got an event with 500 people, I can handle that. I can handle more than that. I did the Greenville Country Music Festival 3 days last year.
That's coming up.
Thousands of people.
Coming up in a few months.
I made sure not to run out of cigars. Yeah, it is, but it's only 2 days this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you do an event with 500 people, granted, unless it's straight up a cigar smoker event, which it's probably not. You're doing it. So I'm willing to gamble that of those 500 people, it is generous to say 50% of them are cigar smokers.
A question about freshness of cigar and how long does it stay fresh, even in a humidor? Being a former cigarette smoker, I do remember you leave a pack of cigarettes out for too long, they just get a little stale.
Really?
What about cigars?
As long as you keep a cigar on proper humidity,
yeah,
it will be good indefinitely.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Now, it will age, and the flavor will change. And at some point, people have varying opinions on this. At some point, that cigar, it's kind of like aging wine. You can go too far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A cigar will get to a certain point to where you don't really need to take it any further. Now, that's like trial and error.
Right.
But I've heard probably like 5 to 10 years, somewhere in there is the sweet spot. Longer than 10 years is doesn't really.
Really? So a 5-7-year-old cigar is considered aged well?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
I would think so. Now, it could be 15 years old, and it's still good to smoke because it's still properly humidified. But that's a whole different scenario. That's a whole different subject than what's the flavor, how is it aged, has it aged well? You know what I mean? We're just talking about straight up, is this cigar still in good shape and smokable?
Yeah.
And that's a humidity issue. So yeah, a cigar, man, as long as you keep it on proper humidity and don't let it dry out, it will be good and forever, pretty much.
Yeah, one more question related to cigars. Have you ever had a cigar from Asia, like Turkish tobacco?
No.
Something out there, neither have I. So I'm fascinated about it. They got to have them out there.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
I'm sure they do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man. Well, let's move on into Mack Home Inspections. And I know it seems pretty self-explanatory just by the name, but maybe somebody's listening out there who is a renter or just not familiar with, houses and real estate or whatever, they don't have any idea what a home inspection is. So give us the rundown, like what is Mack Home Inspections, and basically what is a home inspection?
Okay. Mack Property Inspections is a full-service home inspection company. We also offer indoor air quality testing and mold testing. And funny, I kind of just mentioned that because it seems like lately I've been doing more mold testing almost than home inspection. So it seems like I'm becoming more of an indoor air quality consultant lately. But home inspection is pretty cut and dry. Do you have to get one? No, you don't have to get one. Do I recommend everyone gets one who buys a home? Absolutely. Whether you use me or someone else, definitely do it. There's three main reasons why you get an inspection. One is to get educated about the property. You want to know what condition your roof is in. You want to know how old that air conditioner, that water heater is. You want to know if there's any safety or structural issues with your home. Another big reason is money. You want to save some money. If you're working with a realtor, they are your advocate. They're the ones who can take that home inspection report and maybe help save you some money when you're making that big, huge purchase up front. Also, you're saving money down the long run, because if you fix something now, it's going to be cheaper than when it becomes a big problem and then it becomes an expensive repair. And third big reason is just peace of mind. You know, you get that inspection, you can say, all right, I had a professional look over my property. This is what they found. All right, we know what's going on. I can think about something else now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can speak to this. You said, like, if you're buying a home and you have a realtor, then they can kind of help you in your negotiation after seeing the home inspection report. And yes, if you're thinking about purchasing a home in the upstate, if you're listening to this podcast and you're out of state and you want to come to Greenville, like everybody else in the USA, or you're thinking about selling your home, you can get me at direct phone or text 864-207-2316. But yeah, there are ways to take that home inspection report depending on what's on it and negotiate a deal, whether that is asking the buyer or asking the seller to repair X, Y, or Z, or saying, look, in lieu of repairs, I would rather just, ask you for
the credit,
$7,000 off the purchase price of the home, and then I'll repair it myself.
Yep.
After it's done. And that is typically my recommendation. If you have the capital, right? Like if you have the money in the bank to make these repairs yourself, that's my suggestion. Ask them for a reduction in contract price instead of asking them to do it, because there is no law on the books that says if you're buying a house from Joe Smith down the street and you tell him, I want you to repair this, he can call his cousin Jim Bob who just come slap some whatever, slap some particle board together and put some JB Weld on it and do whatever, right? Like, you're better off getting a reduction in sales price. By the way, the seller does not have to do that. I'll just make that known. The seller does not have to repair anything. But if they decide to play ball, you're better off getting a reduction in sales price, and then you can hire whoever you want to do the job, or if you're handy enough, do it yourself.
Yep.
So
yeah, Chris, I mean, it's commonplace for me to hear back from one of my clients saying, my realtor helped negotiate $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 worth of repairs or credit. That's commonplace. So if you're thinking like, I don't want to pay this inspector $400 or $500, what if you turn around and in lieu save $5,000 or $10,000?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just worth it all day long.
I would never, ever, ever, just like you said, I would never in a million years recommend somebody purchase a home without getting a home inspection.
And I got to say, too, that goes for new builds as well.
I was going to ask you about that.
Don't throw the new builds on it. I'm not going to use any names out there.
Sure.
But I'm going to say all of the track home builders, I find defects all the time. All the time.
Well, I mean, it's just people.
Yeah.
Putting houses together.
Yeah, they're slapping them up pretty quick.
Yeah, they are. They're look, I live in one of those communities. This house was built by Lennar.
Mm-hmm.
There is just right around the corner here on 153. There's a Ryan Homes community going in.
Right.
This half of my neighborhood on this side is Mungo.
Okay.
So this side's Lennar, that side's Mungo. Ryan Homes is going up.
Haven't done too many Mungos. I've done Lennar, Stanley.
So I was going to ask you that should somebody buying new construction still get a home inspection?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. I just did one earlier last week, rather. And I think I found 40 defects, 3 or 4 of those being more of a serious defect. Something that should get fixed right away.
Yeah.
Like roof shingles that are damaged. Yeah. A monstrous bulge in the side of the wall. Like not just a little wavy bulge, but a bulge. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
what are you, it says on your website that you are a, quote, certified master inspector.
Yep.
So what does that mean?
Certified master inspector. It's just a designation associated with my home inspector association called InterNACHI, which has been around for well over 20 years now. Certified master inspector, you have to have over 1,000 hours, 1,000 inspections, and or education to show that you've been doing inspections for a while, plus 3 years of inspections.
Okay.
So
you're not just some
new
rookie
guy off the street can become a certified master inspector.
No offense intended to the rookie. I mean, everybody's got to start somewhere. You were a rookie one time.
Oh yeah. And that goes back to another thing. To do this business without a mentor, and I think you could probably relate in real estate. Just having a mentor, and always having a mentor, no matter how long you've been in the business, is a game changer. You need that. You can't walk in this business and just think you know it.
So how long have you been a home inspector?
12 years now.
12 years now. And
I just talked to my mentor this morning.
Okay, all right, there you go. So you're still getting mentoring 12 years in.
Absolutely. This guy's 72. He's incredible. He's knocking out 1 or 2 inspections a day.
He's still doing that at 72?
Yeah, he walks around with his fishing hat. He's known realtors for years. You might know him. I'll throw his name out later on. But, great guy. And he actually reached out to me when I moved down here a few years back. And since then, he's been a great friend, a mentor, and we've collaborated on projects together. He's solid.
Yeah. So what are you seeing a lot? Where do you do most of your inspections?
I'm all over the place, Chris. I mean, it does seem like near my hometown of Simpsonville, I get more work in that general area, and maybe because people are looking online and just searching for home inspector Simpsonville. But I'm getting them all over the place. I'll go up to Bowling Springs one day, and then Anderson the next day, and then out here to Easley or Piedmont or wherever,
Yeah. Are you a solo operation, or do you have a team?
Solo operation.
But
I do have colleagues in the inspection business who help me out. I also use subcontractors. So like for pest inspections, I work with a couple different companies, and when someone requests a pest inspection through me, I just handle it on my end. Get a schedule for them, and then make sure that my client gets a report.
Yeah.
So it's a one-stop shop.
Yeah. Well, look, I will say this just to back up a minute ago, I said as a realtor, I would never, ever, ever recommend somebody purchase a home without getting a home inspection. Now, I bought my new construction home, and I did not get a home inspection. That was before I was a realtor, though. So if you're going to do that, here's my suggestion. If you buy a new construction home for one of these tract builders like this, you could forego the home inspection, and you're going to get usually a 2-year warranty.
Yep.
On most things. Like you'll have probably 10-year structural, 2-year cosmetics, 1 year cosmetic, 2 years on like I don't remember what it is anymore.
Yeah, usually it's 1 year cosmetics, 2 year structural, 3 to 5 years mechanical.
Yeah, that's what it is. Thanks for refreshing.
But I think where Chris might be going here is the 11-month warranty.
Yes.
I'm doing a lot of those as well. So if you did forego the inspection off the bat, make sure you get a home inspector to come in before that 1 year's up, because that's your last chance to go back to the builder and have them fix whatever they can possibly
That's
fix.
exactly right.
Yeah.
So before that first or 11 months or first year, somewhere in that neighborhood, wherever it specifies in your contract, before that's up, 10 months in or 11 months in, schedule that, get your home inspector out there, get him to do what they do, and then take that report and submit it to the builder and say, you need to fix all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I'm studying construction management right now in college, and I've had a lot of good talks with the construction managers. And one thing that screws them up and they can't stand is the onesies and twosies requests. But when they get a full home inspection report and say, hey, here you go, can you do X, Y, and Z from this report? They love that. They got the photo, they got the arrow showing where the problem is. They have a little narration of what the issue is, what the defect is. They love it instead of getting these onesies and twosies over the course of months and months.
Yeah, I mean, here's a whole list, knock it out.
Yep.
Yeah, instead of you having to call 7 times over 9 months and report, this doorknob or this fire alarm or, whatever the case happens to be.
I mean, of course, if it's a safety issue or something serious, get it fixed soon.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, for fire alarms beeping, you probably just replace the batteries. So would you, obviously the ideal time to get a home inspection is before you buy it. However, do you recommend getting a home inspection at 5 years in, 10 years in? When is there another time after living in the home for X amount of years that you say might not be a bad idea just to have just to give this thing a once over?
Sure, that's a good idea. I would say a good time usually is after a big storm. Like after Helene, I did see numbers go up of people just wanting me to inspect their roof, their exterior, their crawl space. Some people had leaks, some people didn't have any leaks that they knew of, but they just wanted to give it a good once over after a big storm like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, a home inspection just kind of gives you a good lay of the land. Yep. Like, here's what's going on with your home. Yeah,
it's a general overview, folks. I mean, I'm there for somewhere between 3 and 4 hours typically. I'm going to catch majority of your defects. And I'm a generalist. I'm not a licensed electrician. I'm not a licensed plumber, but I definitely know enough about all the trades to be dangerous and how to communicate those defects.
That was on a list of things for me to ask you. If you felt like people have the idea that a home inspector is going to catch everything that's wrong with their home.
Absolutely not. Not in that 3-4 hour span. I know
but do you
folks
think
who've
that's
been
what
living in a
people
house
think,
for 6 months, and then they say, oh, we just noticed this thing over here after living here 6 months. So
yeah, but do you get people who say, I had a home inspection, but now I'm having this problem. Why didn't this guy catch it?
Oh, yeah, all the time. And most of the time, folks, it's because of a hidden defect. Most of the time, it's something like they opened up a wall cavity and suddenly they see mold or water damage or some wiring or plumbing that was done wrong. I don't know what's going on behind the walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and nobody wants you to cut a big hole in their wall.
But usually the in-your-face things, I'm catching those.
Well, see, that's like, I asked that because you hinted at it. Like, I've just heard stories about people being upset that a home inspector didn't catch XYZ on, I don't know, their AC unit or whatever. But a home inspector is not an HVAC specialist.
Yeah.
He's a home inspector.
Right.
So you said you're a generalist.
Yes, sir.
Like you said, like, what are you looking for? And that's that's a big question because you're looking for a lot.
We got to unpack that one.
Unpack
specific.
it, man.
Be more specific on.
Well, I don't know
the whole process, start to finish, because I can break that down.
Yeah, run it out for us, man. Like if I hire Scott Mack to come inspect my house, what's that process look like?
All right, you got about 3 minutes for me to go on my chant here. So I show up at the property. Usually I'll do one lap around the property just to get a feel of it. After that, I'm climbing the roof if I can. And that's another thing too, folks. When you're picking a home inspector, there's nothing against that guy who doesn't climb the roof. But if it's a climbable, walkable roof and your inspector's still running a drone or just standing back with a pair of binoculars, are you getting your money's worth?
Yeah.
So I like to walk a roof if I can. If I can't, then I'm popping the ladder up there. And if that's even impossible, then I'll send the drone up and do the drone photography of the roof.
Well, you can't. Now, maybe you can let us know. I mean, there's maybe telltale signs for this thing, but like if you're running a drone or binoculars, you can't feel a soft spot.
True.
But there might be visual signs.
There could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I'd appreciate somebody walking my roof.
Yeah. Case in point, it was a number of months back. I went and walked this roof. Overall, it was in fair condition, probably right around half-life, I guess, if you had to guess. And I just walked over by the chimney. The shingles looked fine. I stepped in the area where the shingles met the chimney, and my foot almost went through the roof in a couple different sections of that area. You would have never known just by visual. So, yeah, good point there. So, yeah, after I'm done with the roof and the gutters and the flashings, chimneys and all that stuff up there, I'll take probably about 4, 5, 6 laps around the property at different angles, different, I'll go clockwise and counterclockwise. I'll be close up and far away, just trying to get all the vantage points of the exterior of the property and noting down any defects that I find. Afterwards, going on in the inside, I start at the attic, and then I work my way all the way down. Usually I'm checking every single outlet.
I bet you're glad we're on the tail end of summer.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you. I had to throw away a set of boots because one day the soles of my boots were melting on the roof. It was that hot. And it was a black roof, of course, but wow. Whew.
Yeah, well, it's just either being up on the roof.
I'm not complaining about the heat here, folks.
Yeah. I mean, but going up on the roof, but I just like in the summer going in the attic.
Oh, yeah. That's cooking. That's a sauna.
Yeah, that's unpleasant.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, you come in the house and you go in the attic and so in the attic you're looking at insulation.
Insulation, proper ventilation is also a key that a lot of people overlook. If the attic is not properly ventilated, improperly ventilated attic can also cause premature wear on your roof coverings. It can also cause what's an uplift effect on your roof where air can get trapped underneath your attic and almost pull your house up a little bit, causing cracks, some structural issues.
Because hot air rises,
right,
and it creates pressure on the roof.
So ventilation's a big key. And then, of course, we're looking at structure. We're looking at the mechanics up there. If there's an air conditioning handler up there, if there is sometimes a water heater in your attic, which is wild, but you'll find that occasionally.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Can there... So you said there's a lift effect if there's not proper ventilation. There can be.
Yep.
Is there the opposite effect when it's cold? And can your ceilings begin to sag?
I think with weight on the roof, with snow, that could happen.
Yeah.
Snow and ice. Yeah.
Well, I just meant, I didn't know, the interior, no?
It would have to be pretty darn cold, I think, for anything to...
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, more of a trapped air, as you said, hot air, just trying to hot air balloon that house up, And that doesn't happen too often.
Sure.
Yeah. With today's building standards, looking around your neighborhood, all these homes, they look properly ventilated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go up in the attic, you're checking out the stuff up there, ventilation, insulation, air handlers if they're up there. Like, I don't know why you would put a water heater up there. That just is a recipe for disaster, it seems like, if you spray a leak in the attic.
They do have what's called a drip pan, typically, that captures it, but yeah, it is kind of weird having one up there sometimes.
Yeah. So you come out of the attic.
Right.
And then
I'm going room to room, checking every single door, every single window I can get at, every single outlet I can get at, the lights, the fans. I'm looking around for any stains, water damage, monster cracks. If I see some small cracks or patchwork, I'm also going to note that in the report because you never know. There's so many times where a seller, I'm calling you out, sellers, you will cover up some previous water damage. You will cover up a defect just to get that house sold, just to get it out of your hands. So, when it comes to patchwork and stains, that's usually when I'm probing my moisture meter to see if there's any leftover moisture higher than the other building materials have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love seeing some of those pictures from people that I know and follow on social media, and they're just in a crawl space, and you can just push your screwdriver through an entire.
Ooh.
It's just
Tire joist or beam. Yeah. Yeah. That's nuts. And sometimes the wood looks fine, but yeah, you take your probe and it goes right through, or it goes in an inch or so.
So when you're seeing water stains on somebody's ceiling and you're pulling out the moisture probe, what readings are you looking for?
All right. Typically for me, anything higher than 16% could that was what I learned in when I did mold, if you want to call it mold school in New York. But anything higher than 16%, then mold can start thriving and growing in the right conditions. Mold needs two things: something to eat, and it needs moisture. So
it sounds like people.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. Another great tool that helps out with this is thermal imaging camera, which I have a very good one. It's like an $8,000 camera. And that thing is able to see insulation anomalies, moisture anomalies, because water or wet materials holds heat differently than dry materials do. You can see the difference. So that's a very good tool. So those of you folks who watch Homes on Homes, he's right. That's an invaluable tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at your thermal, obviously you're looking at it for different reasons. Like there would be times where you're going to use it. Like if you're checking the HVAC system, we want to make sure that what's coming out of the vents is the proper, it's either cool or hot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But are you also using, okay. Yeah. So when you're using your thermal imaging, what are you using it on?
Oh, that's an additional service that I offer. It's not included with every home inspection.
Okay.
For me, it's an additional $50, and I think it's worth it. But some folks want to get it, some folks don't care about it. But what I usually find with that is insulation anomalies. However, the folks who are asking me to do it are typically concerned about a moisture issue. They want to know, the roof, did it leak before? What's this stain? Can you, not only just look at the stain, probe the stain, but can you pull out your thermal imaging camera and now look at the stain and see if it's retaining moisture or if it's a different color than the surrounding building materials? If it is, then something's up there.
You mean like an active leak?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or an intermittent leak, perhaps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're using your thermal imaging camera, you're looking at the insulation in the roof and exterior walls?
Exterior walls and in the ceiling.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
That's pretty much what I'm looking at with the thermal imaging camera. But it also picks up on some unique things. I've found a couple times where an outlet or a switch will be considerably warmer than all the others.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking like a 10, 15, 20 degree difference in temperature. That usually means it's a loose connection.
Mm-hmm.
So helps out with electrical as well. You can see hot water flowing behind the walls sometimes in your hot water pipes. It's really neat to watch that thermal imaging camera. And
I've seen some imaging from home inspection reports, thermal, like pictures around your electrical panel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Looking for hot spots, things that shouldn't be. They're just looking for, like you said, anything that doesn't belong.
Yep. That's it.
To put it for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah.
So you're checking out all the rooms. And then you're checking out the kitchen, and that's a different room than the rest of the house.
Yeah,
right?
Kitchens and baths. So typically what I do is I kick on the water in the bathroom, maybe two bathrooms at the same time, and then the kitchen as well. What I want to know from my clients is, can they wash dishes and simultaneously take a shower at the same time without a drop in pressure, without a drop in hot water immediately, that kind of thing. So we're also overloading the system. We're running that water for 10, 15 minutes from multiple different fixtures in multiple areas. So we want to make sure that there's no big backups.
Yeah. I mean, because it should be able to handle that.
Right. Absolutely.
So you want to, quote unquote, stress the system.
Yeah.
To see if it can handle it.
Absolutely.
Because, if you got a family of 4 or 5 or whatever, it's not uncommon for 2 people to be taking a shower while the dishwasher's doing its thing.
There you go.
And nobody wants.
I mean, end of night, you're putting all the kids to bed. You're trying to run them through the tubs and the showers and doing all this stuff. And yeah, you want to make sure that there's no hiccups when you're doing that.
Yeah. All right. So what are you looking at when you're taking a peek at somebody's HVAC?
All right. HVAC. So usually I kick it on. I'll go outside real quick. I'll put my hand in the suction line just to make sure it's cold. All right. Then I'll go inside the home, let it run for a long time, and I'm seeing how long it takes to respond. Now, in the summer, you remember that month of July, early August, late June, where it was just so hot here.
Yeah.
It was taking forever for a lot of these systems to catch up. I mean, I'd have the system on for an hour or two, and it would drop 1 degree. So that makes you think like, all right, what's going on here? Is a mixture of the HVAC not working? Are the insulation values, not as good as they could be? What's happening here?
There's a lot to consider.
Yeah.
When it comes to
It's pretty basic with the HVAC inspection. I go to each and every room with my little IR gun and just checking the temperature coming out of the vents. I also have a flow meter that I check usually on 1 or 2 vents just to see what the flow's like. Yeah.
So do you check the returns too?
No.
So you're just checking what's coming out?
Yeah. But returns are a part of the HVAC system, especially with a lot of the older homes. You might only have 1 return in the whole house if it's a small home. So you'll find that unless you keep your bedroom doors and all these doors open for air exchange, for airflow, those rooms will get stale. If you close that room and it doesn't have a return in it, that room will get stale and it will not heat or cool properly like the rest of the home will. So returns are very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. I suppose then you get into the crawl space.
Yep. Yeah. And just to go back to HVAC.
Yeah.
If anyone does need more of an enhanced inspection where pressure checks, that kind of thing, I do work with some HVAC techs that I can call up ASAP and get them out there to do the enhanced HVAC inspection while I'm doing the home inspection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So inform us about the crawl space, man. Is it?
I don't like them.
Yeah.
I miss basements from Buffalo. What can I say?
But you got 3 options, right? You got a crawl space, a basement, or a foundation.
Or a slab, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a slab, yeah.
And that's something that I love about most of the new builds. Majority of new builds are built on a slab. I'm not crawling on my belly, but hey, I'm an old salty soldier, retired Army, and getting on my belly, there's nothing new there, Chris. So as long as I suit up and protect myself, throw in the knee pads and the elbow pads and the little bump hat and start going at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you looking at in the crawl space? What are you looking for?
The main thing we're looking for is moisture. Yeah, that's the first thing. And a lot of banks now, too, if banks are getting a pest inspection, or it's called a CL100 termite letter, the banks look at the amount of moisture in a crawl space. And if it's above 20%, usually they'll have a problem with that. So we definitely want to keep moisture levels down in crawl space. As I mentioned before, anything above 16% from what I was trained in, that's where mold can start growing. So we want to avoid that kind of environment.
Yeah.
And the big thing that I see moisture in crawl spaces, it's probably the 2 biggest culprits are a lack of a vapor barrier, improperly installed vapor barrier. And then the second one would be sweating HVAC ductwork. Ductwork that's just sweating moisture because it's not insulated, sealed properly. And this is usually with the old hard steel ducts that are insulated. The flex ducts, we don't have that problem so much. Yeah.
So yeah, those are 2 big culprits.
Yeah, it's drawing in the bugs. It's drawing in rot, mold, all those things that cause structural issues, structural damage. Yeah, moisture.
Yeah, moisture, and then your floor joists and whatever else down there are going to be shot. And that's a problem, like if you just if you don't deal with it, because then that causes your subfloor.
Yeah.
And that gets into, yeah.
Even if things don't rot, moisture will take its toll on wood. Wood will start to sag. You will have slopey floors over time. Yeah, they might not rot. They might not be damaged, but the moist wood, just over time, it will naturally, the weight of the wood will sag.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure. So what is your least favorite part of the home inspection? Is it the crawl space?
I don't know, because I find unique things in there all the time. I'm going to go back to the attic in the hot months of summer, because it is a sauna. If I can prepare myself mentally for it, like, all right, I'm going in here to sweat it out and I'm going to feel great, then life is good. So the attic. But crawl spaces, they're filthy, they're disgusting, but the unique things I find in there. I got a quick story from yesterday. Is that cool? All right, so we're walking through this house. It's about a 25-year-old home, and there's a lot of spongy areas as you walk in the hallway of this home. But it's just localized small spongy areas. It's almost like in between floor joists. I'm like, what is going on here? Now I know that previously there were guys in the crawl space doing some kind of structural work. So at the end of the inspection, I go in the crawl space because that's the dirtiest part. After that, I want to go home and get a shower, I get in the crawl space and I see some structural, some new columns that were put in, new beams for extra support. So my clients are upstairs, and I said, hey, I'm going to knock and just step on these spongy areas when I knock. So they stepped on them. What I'm finding in between the floor joists, the subfloor was going down about a ½ inch to an inch. It was at a seam where the subfloor meets. The two subfloor, OSB decking pieces meet. The floor joists were not moving, only the subfloor. So that was a pretty wild find yesterday.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and without the help of my clients and the realtor up top, when I'm knocking, they're stepping on the certain areas, and we're able to, at least figure out what the issue is. And I gave them a few pointers of what I might do to, stabilize that area. Just basically like put a 2x6 underneath the seam to keep it from flexing down. It was only in localized areas of this hallway. It's so strange.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. 3,000 inspections later, you're still finding wacky stuff,
Yeah, man. So what's some of the most interesting things you've found in a home inspection?
Oh, man. I'm going to ask you that same question from your home inspectors. But it was a number of years ago, maybe about 8 years ago. I go to pull this electrical panel off. It was inside a home adjoining with a garage. I pull the cover off, and right in front of my face is this melted bat in the electric panel.
No way.
And it was pretty recent. It was still fresh. And I'm like, how do I write this up,
Melted bat in electrical panel.
Yeah. Another one would be like attic panels. You pop an attic panel off, and a lot of times you'll find dead mice, because that's the warm spot of the attic. The heat loss is going through that access panel because it's not insulated very well typically. So they hang out there, and then sometimes they just die, or maybe they just ate some bait and then they go over there to a warm spot and die.
Right.
So you got to be careful when you're taking off that attic panel, homeowners. Just kind of gently pick it up and slide it over to the side, and then take a look at it. Make sure there's no dead little critters there.
Sure. Yeah, I would not be enthused about suiting up and going in the crawl space. I don't want to come face to face with some snake or coon or possum or whatever.
I got a good one for you. Very recent. 1 month ago, I'm going to do it's called a foundation inspection. So I crawl through this foundation. It's underneath the mobile home. And I come out, and I'm covered in maggots and worms.
Oh, God.
Covered. It was disgusting. If you were a fly in the wall, you'd see me jumping and dancing around trying to get all these worms off of me. And immediate decon once I got home. Everything clean.
So what was under there that was so gross?
It was. I didn't even notice it, and that's the wild thing. I'm crawling around on mud. There wasn't a vapor barrier under there. I'm looking at the structure and so forth, and I get out, and then I look down, and I'm like, whoa. There was just hundreds of them on me, Chris. It was disgusting. Yeah, these small little worm
something died
things.
down there, or like,
yeah.
I don't know.
It was a nasty one.
Some
It was a wet,
there.
mucky crawl space. It was a nasty one, but
Probably high moisture content in there.
So what about you? Tell me,
if I had to guess.
you've been working with some different inspectors. You must have seen or heard some wild stories.
Not so much. I mean, I just I follow, I think, Crawl Space Medic.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
those guys are good at what they do.
Yeah. Follow those guys on social media, and they post some interesting pictures of things they found in crawl spaces. I haven't really seen anything very crazy in home inspection reports, thankfully, for my buyers that I've worked with. I've been able to, and that's one of the things, the tendency, I think, for buyers is to get a home inspection report and then freak out. This house is gonna
you're
fall down.
you're definitely getting into the second part of a good inspector, or at least a qualified inspector. It's someone who can communicate. Half the job is customer service and how to communicate that report, how to not freak people out. You don't want to be what's called an alarmist.
Yeah.
You don't want to say run away. I think 3,000 inspections might have been a handful or maybe 10 times where I kind of look at my client and I go, hey, you sure with that face, like, are you sure you want to buy this? And that's usually when there's the house is a demo or it takes $100,000 just to get it up to par. But yeah, most homes, everything is fixable. Everything's manageable, maintainable. It's just how far do you want to go with it?
Yeah. I try and tell the people that I work with that are buyers, a home inspection report generally looks a lot scarier than it actually is. You're going to have, just the way the home inspection report is laid out. Now, that varies from inspector to inspector.
It does, yeah.
But, you'll have all the sections. We'll have, driveway, roof, walls, electrical, kitchen, just all the stuff, and everything's going to have all their own points. And it just, it's going to look overbearing and overwhelming, but just take a breath and let me walk you through it. The things that I am most concerned about are the things that are colored red.
Yep. Red. For my reports, red is safety hazard.
Yes.
And then I use a bright orange for some of those perhaps more major concerns, costly things, or even just something that could be cheap to fix, but you want to fix it right away. That's why it would be things like water damage. That would be more of a bigger concern. And then it's not uncommon for my reports to have 60 or 70 defects.
Right.
But majority of those are going to be maintenance items like service your HVAC system, fix the crack in the wall. The faucet is leaking, but it's not leaking underneath your sink. It's leaking into the drain.
There's no need to flip out over the fact that this outlet's missing a cover plate.
Right. Yes.
It's not that big of a deal. So the safety concerns, those are big. Maybe the orange, depending. But a lot of the stuff in the report is, a lot of it, like you said, can be cosmetic. Like if there's a crack in the ceiling, I do want to know, is that just, was that too little drywall mud or plaster or whatever, and it dried and split, or is this a settling foundation issue?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Here's a little education for you folks out there. For settlement cracks, usually it's going to be diagonal, so it's not going to be straight up and down. It's not going to be vertical, horizontal. It's going to be jagged. That's when there's been some kind of settlement. And if it's a monster crack, then it's settled somewhat over time.
Why? What is the jagged crack telling us to show us this is foundation? Why does settlement cause a jagged crack versus something just straight up and down?
Because when things settle, usually they don't settle evenly. One corner will drop out.
Oh, gotcha.
One section of the house will drop. Or you'll have that truss uplift in your attic, or things will get pulled up in an area, and that could cause cracking too. So I'm not going to say don't freak out over straight cracks. There's some that could have other issues associated with them, but more times than not, the straight cracks up and down or left to right, just fix them, patch them up, monitor them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Now, you mentioned earlier that you do more than just home inspections, like radon testing, mold, pre-drywall inspections. How many of those do you do?
Yeah, pre-drywall, I've probably done a couple dozen of those this past year, and just lined up one more for next week. A lot of times, too, I'll do a pre-drywall for a client, and then a month or 2 or 3 later, I'll go back and do their final inspection, and then, of course, give them a discount for the package deal.
Sure. Yeah, so what are you looking for?
So pre-drywall, it's all structural. That's the majority of it. Of course, you are going to look at the dry installation of the plumbing pipes, how the electric is ran, how the boxes are mounted, but more so structural. So doing the same thing as a home inspection, checking out that roof first, checking out the exterior, making sure that the walls are not buckled, bowed, making sure the building paper is installed properly before they put the siding on, because here's another fun fact for folks. Siding is not moisture proof. It's moisture resistant, but moisture and condensation will go behind your siding. If you ever look underneath your siding, you'll typically see small little holes, and that's for moisture to creep out. So that building paper is imperative that it's installed properly on a pre-drywall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, if I was building a house from scratch, I would 100% get a pre-drywall inspection.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, once the drywall's on,
you don't know.
You can't see what's back there.
You have no clue. Yeah. A lot of times I find, areas where they forgot to put a mounting bracket on, or weak connections. Or one time I found where they didn't put headers over main entry doors. I was like, what's going on here? Roof defects galore. You name it.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So if you're going to build a house from scratch, get a pre-drywall inspection.
Yeah. And they are usually cheaper than the full home inspection.
Well, like you said earlier in the show, I mean, home inspection, NCO 100, probably depending on $500, $600-ish in that general range. Like, that's 100% worth it.
Yeah.
To find out if this house actually needs more like $15,000 worth of work.
I mean, nowadays, folks, you're spending somewhere between typically $300,000 and $500,000 for a new build.
Yeah.
And this is just, baseline new build, not your top of the line, 5,000 square feet home. So are you really going to, just not spend $300, $400, $500 on a inspection?
Right. I mean, if you're like in the big scheme of things, if you're spending $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 on a new construction home, what's another $500 to have somebody go through, take a look at all your systems, take a look at your structure, make sure things are working the way they're supposed to be working. Like, it just seems kind of like a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
in my
absolutely.
opinion.
So tell us, most people are not familiar. I'm somewhat familiar as a realtor, but not super. Most people don't even know what radon is.
All right.
So clue us in on what radon is and why you might want to consider radon testing.
Okay. Well, Greenville County does have a good amount of radon, and the counties surrounding Greenville as well. The EPA states that anything over 4.0 PCI, which is a measurement of this radon gas, that's when you should get it mitigated or get it taken care of. What's wild is if you go to Canada and Europe, the standards are much higher, 6.8 PCI. So we do have pretty stringent, tight standards here with the EPA. Radon is an odorless, colorless gas produced by uranium deposits in the ground, and it's just basically over time causing this gas to flow up. Radon is all around us everywhere. It's in the air we breathe right now. But once it gets into a home and it remains there stagnant in the home and builds up beyond that 4.0 level, that's when studies have shown that these can have cancer-causing issues. So radon mitigation is about $1,000, $1,500, sometimes $2,000. That's not the end of the world either, in my opinion. You know, if you have high radon, what's another $1,000, $2,000 for your health to lower the
It's
risk
cheaper than paying for
significantly
chemo.
of getting cancer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cheaper than chemo.
Now, of course, you know, we're sitting here smoking cigars, and I'm a former cigarette smoker. Now, once
That's fair.
let's say that you have radon in your house and you're a cigarette smoker. Now you just multiplied the factor by 10, so they say. So,
So what does the radon test look like? I mean,
all right,
if
I use a machine,
yeah,
and it's just a small little square box that I mount on top of a tripod. Usually I set it, I put it on a 12-hour delay because I don't know if people were in that house with the windows open before me. Or sometimes I come in the home and the windows are open and the chimney fireplace flue is open. We want to get closed building conditions in that home. Then I set up the test, let that sucker run to do a short-term test, 48 hours, and we go with results from there. Yesterday I did a radon test, came out at 1.5. Did one a couple months ago that I think was at 18. So that was pretty high.
it's so random.
Yeah.
Like you could test my house and it'd be, one whatever, and you could test that house over there and it's totally off the chart.
You're so correct, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We can't explain it.
Yeah. Here's a question for you about home inspections, man. Like, what are the differences? And I don't know, man, but like, what are the differences between doing home inspections in the summer and the winter? Like, is there a different effect?
Well, yeah,
Like
you would have that stack effect perhaps in the attic from that hot air rising.
Like
Then
you're
again,
gonna
in the winter.
Are you gonna show lower moisture content in the crawl space in the winter?
I'd say less activity with bugs.
That doesn't mean they're not there.
Yeah, they're dormant.
They're just not as active.
Yeah.
Like, because I have talked to a guy, I have a friend that works for board and pest control. And, as a realtor, we say basically buy your house in the winter and sell it in the summer. Buying in the winter is cheaper. Selling in the summer is better because in the summer is when everybody's moving.
Yep.
For various reasons, the market's
Trying to get
usually
their kids
hotter
to a
in the
new
summer.
school district.
Exactly, all that stuff. In the winter, things are slow. People are enjoying the holidays and aren't really worried about trying to move or want to sell a home. Like, you can usually get some better deals in the winter. But the pest inspector guy, he's like, we tell everybody to buy in the summer and sell in the winter. Because like you get a much more active picture of what's going on in the crawl space and with pests during the summer when things are warm.
Yep.
But I was just curious, like doing a home inspection, just the full gamut of a house, what kind of effect, if any, the different seasons played on the things you find?
I'd say in Buffalo, that would be a more valid question in Buffalo because we did have 4 real seasons.
You got severe winter.
Severe winter. We also had a real summer, a real spring, a real autumn. Here, it almost seems like spring is quick. Summer comes along. That lasts for a good while. Autumn is rather quick, and then winter is quick. That's what I'm gathering. But I've only been here a couple years. So to gauge it off South Carolina, I really couldn't answer that question. I've only been here a couple years.
Sure.
Yeah, I see no difference really in times of inspection. My favorite time to inspect is when it's raining or right after it's rained.
Really? How come?
Yeah, we want to know about moisture issues.
Oh, that's fair.
Is it getting...
If there's a leak.
Is it getting in the attic? Is it getting into the crawl space? Is it getting through a window? Anything. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so the rain is my friend.
Yeah.
And I don't mind doing an inspection in the rain. Yeah.
Cool beans.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Going back to real estate.
Yeah.
I was a amateur realtor for 4 years. So it was about 8 years ago I decided I'm going to go and get my real estate license.
It's a tough business, man.
Yeah, because I made all these colleagues and friends who are realtors and they're complaining, they had to do this. I got to give you credit. And to all those realtors out there too, I give you all credit. At first I was like, what are you complaining about? Now I understand. Realtors are putting out fires at 10:30 at night. You're doing so many things, so much coordination.
There's a lot that goes on that people don't know about. And as a realtor, for my clients, they don't need to know about.
Yeah.
It's my job to handle all this stuff. That's why they hire me. And like I am trying to do the best I can to make this transition for you as painless as possible. Because let's face it, while buying a home, in most circumstances, is an exciting thing. It's a daunting task.
Yep.
Like getting, if you're financing, like dealing with the lender, getting them all your financial information, still trying to like raise your kids if you have them or work your job while you're packing your house at the same time, trying to juggle, coordinates. All right, when are we closing? When am I getting the keys? Do I need to take a day or two off of work to do this move? That it's stressful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you as my buyer or seller, you don't need to be, unless I absolutely 100% need to talk to you about an issue, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Because you don't need that on your plate. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, folks. So, Chris was talking up the home inspection game. I'll say the same thing for having a proper real estate salesperson, advocate for you. It's invaluable, totally. To have that kind of representation. I mean, there might be an exception where, you're just buying a house off your dad. That could be a simple transaction, but anything other than that, really, you really want to have some good representation out there from a real estate salesperson and someone who's knowledgeable and can help you out with that whole transaction process and just let you sleep easier at night, giving you that peace of mind.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Realtors appreciate it. I appreciate it. And since we're talking about it, I've already thrown out my number, but I will again. If you're looking to make a real estate move in the upstate of South Carolina, the greater Greenville area, you can hit me up at 864-207-2316. You can visit my website, Chris Strother, that's STROTHER, chrisstrother.cdanjoiner.com. I am a local realtor with C.Dan Joyner, BHHS, or Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, and I'm also a member of Nexus Group. And as I mentioned to Scott, I strive to get you the best deal in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of disturbance to your life. So let's do it. Hit me up. I'd love to help you out and represent you in the purchase or sale of your next home. So you, as stated, are not originally from this area. You're from Buffalo, New York. How did you get to Greenville, South Carolina?
Oh, Lord. Well, I own some property in New York. This was right around the COVID time, before COVID. And then during COVID, we all know what happened, especially in some states. At that point, right before COVID, New York changed their landlord-tenant law to make it more tenant-friendly. And I'm like, all right, I can probably work with this. And then COVID popped along, and the government said, hey, tenants, you don't have to pay your landlord. So they
didn't have to pay rent?
They didn't have to pay. So I can remember clearly, this was about 3-4 months after COVID had popped off, maybe in May. My one tenant, she wasn't paying me. And I just looked her straight in the face and I said, are you ever going to pay me? She looks at me straight and she goes, probably not. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I need to sell this property and I need to start looking in other places where I'm represented by my government to help me out in situations like this. It is insane. That's
government-sanctioned squatting.
It is, basically. And I understand, COVID was a tough time for many folks. In the real estate game, it wasn't too bad for me or for some of my realtor friends because, rates went down pretty quick after that.
Well, it was wild, dude. People were fleeing those states like New York and California, buying, selling their place for cash, buying homes, sight unseen, waiving inspections, waiving all contingencies. It was wild. I wasn't a realtor then, but I've heard stories, man.
It was crazy. So I ended up selling that. I had a triple unit. I sold that in New York and ended up taking the proceeds from that to buy 2 properties down here in Greenville. I had done a whole exploration, 2.5-week drive through multiple cities on the eastern, southeastern part of the United States, just checking out different areas, Atlanta, Charleston, some areas in Virginia. I got a buddy who lives in Camden, not too far from Columbia, South Carolina. And then I looked at Greenville, and I'm like, you know what? I got no friends who live here, but I got friends who live nearby, within 3 hours. And I fell in love with Greenville, man. So, yeah, I bought 2 properties back to back. And no looking back. I used them as investments for a number of years. And then I was living in Ecuador about almost 2 years ago. I got a call from one of my tenants saying that they're moving out. And I said, you know what? I'm coming back to the States, but I'm not moving back to Buffalo. I'm going to try out Carolina. So that's
did you have any trouble selling your house, your stuff in New York?
Oh, no, man. I bought that house for $98,000 in 2015. In 2022, I sold it for $200,000. And it was a small cape. That was the home I lived in, At that point, I was a single guy. So
yeah.
It was perfect for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you were, so did you left New York and went to Ecuador or what?
Yeah. So after I bought some property down here, I had a couple really great years of business. As we know, that was the boom years of real estate. And my investments were doing very well. My son, he graduated from high school, went off to college, and I said, you know what? I'm going to take myself a long-term sabbatical. And I moved, and I lived in Ecuador and Thailand off and on, plus visiting other countries for about a year and a half.
So just what did you do there? I mean, were you just kind of like on vacation, or did you work? Or
prior to that, I did get my certificate to teach English as a second language. So I did that. But folks, really, I took a big break, man. I hung out on the beach. I walked in the mountains. I was single. I dated a lot. I met different folks, learned a lot about culture. It was an incredible experience. I'm so grateful I had that opportunity. I kept my business alive in Buffalo by having one of my colleagues pretty much manage the business and just take my referrals. So I was still collecting some income from that and did well in other investments.
Yeah. So of all the places you could have taken a long-term sabbatical, why Ecuador and Thailand?
Cheap. Plain and simple. I mean, I'm not a multimillionaire here. I can't go get some mountaintop retreat in Switzerland.
Sure.
When you go to Ecuador, I had a great apartment right in front of the river. Beautiful. $400. Furnished, included all utilities a month with parking.
That's insane.
It was incredible. It was incredible.
$400 a month for a place,
man,
and utilities and parking.
Breakfast, $3. Lunch, $3-4. A great dinner with beer, $12-14. I'm talking a really good dinner. Yeah.
I mean, $12 is a trip to McDonald's anymore.
Yeah.
So you're talking like a legit dinner.
Yep. Thailand was a little more expensive with some stuff. However, Thailand, every other day getting a massage for $9, Chris. An hour-long massage, $9.
Jeez.
It was phenomenal. It was perfect. At that point in my life, it was perfect.
All right, so...
Yeah. But of course, even though it was cheap, I was living like a rock star without the cocaine. And it eventually got to a point where I said, I need to get back to creating and business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had to smoke some good cigars in Ecuador.
Yeah. 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 They had all different ones, Yeah. And like I said, that's where I tried my Cubans down there too. Yeah. And I wasn't blown away. I'm like, yeah, give me the Dominican,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think?
Give me the El Salvador one.
Which ones, in your opinion, do you prefer Ecuador or Thailand?
Thailand is a dangerous place for a single guy. You can fall into a trap pretty easily. The scene there is intense. The beaches are amazing. The mountains are great. I like Ecuador a little bit better.
All right.
They're a Catholic country. My faith is there. I like the Latin country. I can speak Spanish intermediate on an intermediate level, so I'm going to say Ecuador. I would go back. I would go back and live.
Yeah. Now, it was just time for a break, just time for an extended vacation, or was it just because you could, or what?
Yeah, it was about a year plus after a breakup, and I was just like, I was just looking at my finances and looking at where my son was going. He was going off to college 3-4 hours away. I'm looking at my purpose in life. Like, what do I have right now? And I needed a reset. I needed to rethink about a lot of things, rethink about my faith, rethink about business, rethink about what's really important in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So were you like, if I can broach this topic, if not, we'll just pass over it. So were you struggling with faith?
I would say, yeah. Yeah, my faith was not that strong back then, and it's grown exponentially since.
In what regard?
In the regard that so many conflicts with what's written in the Bible, with what is taught, and how I felt at that point. There was a lot of conflict with the word faith, just taking something on faith without having fact. And since then, I've had some incredible epiphanies, spiritual moments, and there's no doubt in my life now where I'm going when this meat suit ends, you know.
Yeah. So you spent a lot of time in Ecuador and in Thailand, like just exploring the scriptures, like time to self and talk with God in prayer. Like, what was going on there?
I can't say too much of scripture. I did get very involved with philosophy, especially Stoic philosophy. I visited a lot of churches all over the world and in Ecuador. And then when I was in Thailand, of course, it's a Buddhist country. So I got to talk with a good number of monks. And one thing I'll tell you about monks smoke. Monks walk around with their tablets and their cell phones. They're just normal folks, but they have a monk robe on and they're bald. They're interesting folks. But yeah, it was just all the different cultures. And it lets you know that we're not alone in this world.
Yeah.
We're all tied in.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could do that, I most certainly would.
Well, maybe you and just your wifey can do it one day.
Maybe one day. I have to wait till my kids
it was a
scary
thing to walk away from everything I knew, you know, and all my friends and just do this alone at that time, 44 years old. It was wild. And that's another thing too. It's like you get to a point in your life, I believe, where you say, well, I'd love to travel and I can wait till I retire, but I know I'm not going to have the same faculties that I have now.
Right.
So when I went and I traveled, I was surfing, I was boogie boarding, I was snorkeling, I was climbing mountains, doing all the stuff that, you know, you do in your 20s. Of course, it's still a little challenging at my age, but I can do it. And will I be able to do that when at retirement age and at 65? I don't know. Will I be able to enjoy it as much? I don't know. So yeah, pulled the trigger and no regrets.
That's awesome.
It's just a couple.
I mean, I think you probably like if
smoke some cigars.
If a person is able to do that, they should totally do it.
Yeah.
I mean, because you only get.
It was a perfect time. I was single. My son went away to college.
Yeah.
You know, business was good. Finances were very solid. Had a plan. Had a backup plan here in South Carolina, something to come back to. So
yeah.
Well,
you only get one shot at this life, man. You really do.
Yeah.
And if you have the opportunity to get out of the country, you should do it. I've been out of the country on several occasions, and just traveling abroad, seeing other places in the world and what they have to offer, and meeting the local people and trying the local food and exploring the culture. It's fun and it's entertaining and it's exciting and it's good, but it just helps you put a lot in perspective, how great America really is.
This is a great country. There's no doubt there. We have some freedoms that other countries don't have. You go to Europe, it's going to be pretty hard to own a gun there. You go to Latin America, same thing.
There's that, and there's
other freedom of speech as well.
Yeah,
freedom of speech here is much better than other countries.
Well, and if you're paying attention,
Thailand, you can't talk against the government; they will arrest you.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Well, if you're paying attention to the news, there's some troubling, very, very troubling things happening in the UK with freedom of speech.
Yeah.
That's
getting deep over there.
It is, man.
How that country is flipped.
It's a scary thing. And so traveling the world, while you can learn a lot and experience a lot, hopefully when you come home to the States, you recognize
especially South Carolina.
Yeah, yeah. You recognize how awesome this country really, really is, and even in practical things, like if you go to Europe, I'm planning a couple of weeks to have my older brother on the podcast. He's back in the States. He lives just south of London. But like even in practical things, the people that live over there, their refrigerators are not the size of the
small
refrigerators
we have. Yeah, everything's smaller, vehicles.
Everything is smaller. Their washing machine and dryer is small. Like
the closets.
You have to go to the grocery store a couple of times a week.
The grocery store is smaller too.
Yes, it's just everything is so different over there. You know,
one thing I will say about Europe that I love is the public transportation. It's like New York, but safer and cleaner. With the public transport, you can
buy your Oyster Pass.
Yeah, you hop on a train and you can be in the next cool city over, or you hop on the bus, or you can just walk around the city and get whatever you need.
Yeah,
that I love about Europe.
I've been over there. I love like all the little that we really don't have here. The ones that we have are spaced out and few and far between. But like over there, like the little pastry shops. Like in the UK, like pastry shops and little coffee shops, and that we don't have here. I mean, they have like their chain, like we would have here, but I don't know. It's weird over there. Even the coffee shops close at like 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
and it's a strange thing to America.
Italy,
to an
France,
American,
Spain, the wine is cheaper than water. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, they don't put ice in their drinks.
Yeah.
That's very American to put ice in your beverage.
My son has said that his favorite sodas are from Europe. Like
really,
because of course they don't put certain dyes and certain things in there, and it's just even a better soda. So some things about Europe are great. Some things about the States.
Not so
great. if we could mesh it all in together, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But South Carolina is where it's at.
Yeah,
that's no doubt.
I enjoy it. So, from Buffalo, moved out of the country for what'd you say, a year and a half or so, and then back to America here, settled in South Carolina. Yep. But you're also foreign military.
Yep,
I heard you say that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate your service.
Hey, thanks for your support. Did you serve or no?
I did not.
All right. Well, thanks.
I had family who did, but I did not.
Thank you for your support. And of course, you and I were about the same age. We came up in a day and age in the 90s when there wasn't much going on military-wise.
The 90s were great.
Yeah, you had a few conflicts in Bosnia, Serbia, and this and that, UN things, but everything changed when 9/11 hit. And I got in originally 95 and got out for a little bit and joined back in 99 and served from 99 to 2020. Just maybe about 7-8 months after COVID, that's when I got out. So it was a great career. It was all National Guard and Reserves. Did 2 tours in Iraq. First one was about a year plus. The second one was about 10 months. Did a 4-month tour in Ukraine, and then just a lot of trainings and stuff in between there. It was a great career.
Yeah. What's it like in Iraq?
Best friends in the world, no doubt. Iraq, the sandbox. What's kind of wild is I was going to take another shift in work this past year. I went and tried out a contract job in Kuwait, and Kuwait is right there next to Iraq. So it was so wild being back there. Iraq is hot. Iraq is a third world country. There's a lot of folks need a lot of help in Iraq. When you mix religion and state, it's not a good thing. There's nothing wrong with religion. There's really not a whole lot wrong with state. But when you mix the two, it's a bad cocktail. And that's what you have in a lot of these countries.
Yeah.
So, and then you have different factions that are fighting against each other, and they've been doing things for 1,000 years almost the same way. And then we push our Western ways onto them, and it's an ever-evolving thing. There's corruption. There's all sorts of things going on. But
how's the food over there?
Oh, man. I had some great falafel. We used to drive around on a mission, and we'd stop and get falafel from a local guy, or we'd pick up a watermelon, or we'd pick up a Cornish hen chicken, and then we'd cook the chicken in we'd lift up the hood on the Humvee and cook the chicken on the engine block. And,
seriously?
Yeah. We'd wrap it in aluminum foil and all sorts of stuff that we did like that. So the food was good in that way. But the food that we had shipped in to our dining facility was pretty good. My first tour. Second tour, it wasn't as good. I think it's because we were closing up Iraq in 2011 and 12, and our funding was starting to go away.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And then you spent, what'd you say, 4 months in Ukraine?
Yeah, I did a 4-month training mission in Ukraine in 2018. So this was before, the big invasion. They had already taken Kamara, the island area. So the writing was on the wall even back then. They knew it was going to happen. And our main mission was just to train the Ukrainians so they could fight for themselves. And lo and behold, 3-4 years after I left, now you see what's going on.
Now they're doing it.
Of course, Sunday was a rough night for Ukraine. The biggest aerial bombardment by Russia yet since the beginning of the war. So it's, Ukraine is an interesting country, a lot of corruption there, a lot of good people, a lot of proud people as well. The food is incredible. And majority of them do want their independence.
Sure.
Absolutely. They don't want to be under the Russian rule. Yeah. They remember what Soviet times were like. And there's just such a long history of going back and forth, being controlled by the Russian, state, and then not controlled, and then controlled again. So there's a lot of history there too. Yeah.
Well, you've seen a lot, man.
Man, it's been a good life so far. Going to you said you were going somewhere soon, or you're planning an overseas trip?
Well, we're planning a cruise.
All right.
Not like a trip to the, it's just it's like a Eastern Caribbean. She and I are going on vacation at the end of this month. Looking forward to it. It's been too long since we had a vacation. And then she had a stroke 4.5 months ago.
Oh boy. So you need this. You guys, you guys need to get out.
Yeah, we need this. So we discovered Easter Sunday she had a 3-centimeter aneurysm in her brain. And then, we went to the hospital right over here, Baptist.
She had a stroke on Easter Sunday?
Well, we discovered she had the aneurysm in her brain. So we went to the hospital, went to the ER, and they took her back for a CT, and it showed an aneurysm in her brain.
Okay.
And so they sent us to Greenville Memorial Hospital to do surgery the next day, and she had a stroke during surgery.
And she's our age?
She's 46.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So, yeah, we need this.
Yeah, you do need this. You need this, and then after that, plan another one immediately.
I'll have another one planned.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do well, I have something planned. I won't say what, just because I don't want to put it out on the podcast. I can share it with you after.
Yep.
But yeah, we have some nice summer plans for next year.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good, man.
But yeah, man. So the end of September, like we have not been so she was a midwife. So she did exclusive home birth.
Wow.
She was slam busy like when this happened.
What a job.
Yeah.
Wow.
This happened at the end of April, and she had 9 women due in June. No, 9 women due in May that I had to figure out what to do with. And she had between June through December, she had 33 women in care that were seeing her. So I had to figure all that out. But we took a vacation, she and I, in November of 22. We went to St. Lucia.
Okay. Will she enjoy a cigar with you every now and then?
From time to time, she would.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, my girlfriend, she loves cigars, and I think it's cool to do with your significant other,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we haven't been on a vacation since then. We got back, and it's just been work. And then this happened. And so it's like we were way overdue for a vacation, and now we definitely deserve one. So the end of September, she and I are getting on a boat in Jacksonville. We're taking a 5-night Caribbean cruise, just going to lay back, and I am not going to think about anything. I'm not going to think about anything.
You mean
at all?
So in real estate, you asked me before, is it just me at my own company? But I remember in real estate, we were able to lean on our colleagues. Do you have someone to help you out?
Yeah, I'm part of a real estate team.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I've got if I've got people that need attention while I'm gone, one of my friends will handle it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's also a good thing to know too, folks, just on the real estate side. If you're picking a realtor, you want to find someone who at least has someone that has their six in the event they're busy.
Yeah.
Because it's a dynamic environment where you need to get a hold of your realtor and they're on a cruise boat. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully someone
I've got no service in foreign waters, people, so don't try and call me. I won't pick up.
Definitely a different animal than a home inspector, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, man, one thing I forgot to ask you, what's the website for Mack Inspections?
www.mackinspections.com.
Mackinspections.com. All right, so that's the easiest way for people to get in touch with you?
Sure.
Yeah,
you can go on there. You can schedule an inspection right off the website if need be. You'll find my phone number, all that good stuff. You'll find out a little bit more about me. You'll be able to do some research on me if you want. A lot of people do that. They want to know who they're dealing with. You'll also find the Google reviews. Yep.
Awesome. Well, Scott, this has been fun, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's good knowing a little bit more about cigars. Yeah, you really schooled me up on that, and thanks for sharing your real estate experience and also a little bit about your family life.
100%, man. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed learning about home inspections and just, you got some interesting stuff in your background, so it was great. All right, look, if you are in need of my services as a realtor or with a cigar box, you can reach me direct at 864-207-2316. You can visit mobilecigarbox.com to check me out there. If you need to schedule an appointment with me as a real estate professional, shoot me an email to cstrother@cdanjoyner.com. You've been listening to Sunday Afternoon Smokes. I appreciate it. Share it with your friends and your family and on your socials. And share it with the world. And y'all visit mackinspections.com. Right?
Thanks again, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We will talk to y'all very soon. Have a good one.
Cheers.